Start. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to all of you. I am Dr. Ramanlal and Kachwe, Professor, Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry, Sir Dr. M.S. Gosavi, College of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, Nasik. As you already know, we have organized one day national level webinar on futuristic innovation in pharmaceutical arena. For this, we have a wonderful personality, Mr. Chetan Maheshwari sir. I take this opportunity to welcome today's guest, Mr. Chetan Maheshwari sir, an expert in ALCOA plus data integrity principles for this webinar today. It's my great privilege to introduce to you our second session speaker of the national level webinar, Mr. Chetan Maheshwari sir, Manager Development Quality Assurance, Glenmark, Mumbai. Mr. Chetan Maheshwari sir completed his Master of Pharmacy in Pharmaceutical Quality Assurance from IPER Varda, Nagpur University in 2011. He completed a Bachelor of Pharmacy from NCP, Nagpur University in 2008. Sir has total industrial experience is 12 years. Mr. Chetan Maheshwari sir is currently working as a manager DQA at Glenmark Pharmaceutical Limited R&D Center, Taloja, Navi Mumbai from June 2023 to till date. Sir has previously worked in various pharma industry in different positions like Assistant Manager Analytical Compliance at Endopar Formulation R&D Center, Navi Mumbai from June 2020-21 to June 2023. Senior Research Officer DQA at Glenmark Pharmaceutical Limited R&D Center, Sinnar, Nasik from November 2014 to June 2021. Research Officer Analytical Validation at Glenmark Pharmaceuticals Limited R&D Center, Mahape, Taloja, Navi Mumbai from August 2013 to November 2014. Research Associate Analytical Development at Gates Pharma Research Private Limited, Amarnath, Mumbai, February 2012 to August 2013. He has completed various certification training programs like 21 CFR, it's a Code of Federal Regulation, Part 11 Life Management of Waters Empower Software, System Administrator, Training of Waters Empower Software, Empower Custom Field and Calculation. He has delivered several lectures to various pharmacy colleges on the topic of chromatography, data integrity, and quality management. He has delivered a pharma expert talk in association with Pharma Tutor on career in quality assurance in pharmaceuticals on YouTube channel. His professional expertise in building and execution of quality system, compliance in analytical and formulation development, build organization capability, R&D system maintenance, and system overview for respective instruments of various. We have such a eminent, renowned, and dynamic personality with us. Now I request Mr. Chetan Maheshwari sir, please guide our students and delegates on the topic of ALCOA plus data integrity principles. I am sure we will be enriched by the seminar. Once again, I welcome all of you for this function. Sir, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for introducing me. And I am very much thankful to Gosavi College of Pharmacy, managing staffs, academicians, Shilpa ma'am and you for inviting me, for giving me an opportunity to deliver on ALCOA Plus. And rest, be assured that this session will definitely be helpful to the budding pharmacist. That I will make sure, sir. So, with your permission, can I start my presentation?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what is data integrity and what is ALCOA Plus? So, in our today's session, I will be letting you know what are the principles of data integrity, what is data integrity, how it is important, how this principle is important for an pharmaceutical regulated organization to cope up with the compliances concerns. Okay, so just briefing, I wish to deliver this talk with respect to the day-to-day activities, right? ALCOA is followed by each and every one of us in our day-to-day activity, in college activity, and yes, definitely in any regulated environment. So I will try to explain the concept with respect to your day-to-day activity. Now, would you like to travel with this plane? Yes, by seeing the plane, everyone will say yes, why not? It's a new technology Airbus with a class comfort and hospitality, and definitely we want to travel in this plane. But what now? Air companies transportation safety office is like this, all mess up. Would you like to travel now? Now, if your pilot on duty is like this, would you like to travel now? Definitely all of us, by seeing these two pictures, will not travel in this air company. Now, what is this? This is something, the data integrity is breached. Okay, my faith, by looking this, the faith on my particular air company has been destructed. Okay, I will not travel in such a companies whose air company's transportation safety office is like this, and my pilot on duty is like this. Okay, now just imagine, I am talking with respect to pharmaceutical regulated environment. You all are associated with pharmacy education course, so you all know the importance of a medicine that is being consumed by the patients, or patients can be any one of us. So it is the prime responsibility of a pharmacist, of a pharmaceutical education, a pharmaceutical company, to prepare the drug in a particular regulated environment. Okay, now how can I make assure that the drug which was produced or which is being marketed is coping up with the set standards? So Alcoa Plus is nothing but the framework put forward by the US FDA guidelines, which guides us how to perform the activity in a pharmaceutical environment. Okay, in other way, by following the ALCOA principles, I can say that I have maintained the integrity of the regulatory guidelines which were proposed by any regulatory agencies, and my dog is safe to be consumed by a human. Now, what is a reputation? As I said, every organization, whether it is a pharmaceutical organization, whether it is a air company, where it is a any brand manufacturing organization, everyone has its reputation. Now, a reputation that took decades to build can be threatened by just a single event. Okay, there are many examples. Like if I quote with respect to Nashik, you might be knowing 5 years back, Yeola tea was the most famous brand at Nashik. So that was the first franchisee of tea brand that was introduced in Nashik, and within a span of 6 to 7 months, it has generated a huge revenue. Okay, so many competitors, XYZ persons, provided the misleading information regarding Yola tea, that they are manufacturing the tea, they are adding some XYZ content in that XYZ. So a single reputation of that organization was challenged. Okay, now how I can cope up that challenges? If I am following the set regulated requirements, anytime I can challenge that. No, I am not doing such manipulations things. I am following ALCOA, I am following data integrity principles. Anytime any agency can come check to me, I am up to the mark. So this is a framework which gives you the confidence that my organization is working according to the set principles of regulatory agencies. Now, it is for any pharmaceutical company to be in the market nowadays, the reputation matters. If any of the USFDA audit is being not conducted successfully for any pharmaceutical organization, a import alert or a 483 warning letter is been granted. that says that I cannot sell I cannot sell the drug in US market. So my reputation of the organization is in question, my financial stability goes into question. So it is very much important to follow the regulated guidelines, and ALCOA Plus guides us to follow the same. Now, before 2012-13, pharmaceutical industry was based on paperwork. Okay. After 2012-2013, there was a shift from paper to electronic transactions, right? Just a simple example. Earlier, your questions were used to you were writing question papers were used to be on printed copy. So you used to write by pen or on the paper. You used to give your examinations. Nowadays, you have a software design. You go for an electronic examination systems, right? So this is what from paper to paperless, paper to electronic shift. Now, why it was required? Why for a pharmaceutical company from paper to electronic shift was required? Now, the data integrity is a term which gives an competitive advantage to any organization. Okay. Now, how to achieve data integrity? Look, data integrity is achieved on paper also, but it is more transparently achieved on electronic transactions. Just I will repeat that. Paper transactions and electronic transactions goes parallelly. The procedures which are set on paper for an data to be integral is same as that of electronic. But when we say electronic, the transparency level is high. Okay? Manipulations on electronic data are can be seen readily, but the manipulations which are done on paper cannot be traced. So this was the era from 2012 to 2013 where pharmaceutical industries hooked to electronic transactions. Right. Now, from that time, these ALCOA principles came into focus. Okay. Now, what is data integrity? To do right when no one is watching. Okay. To do right thing when no one is watching. Data integrity refers to the completeness, consistency, and accuracy of data. Now, just a simple example. All of you might be appearing for your sessional exams or university exams, right? So unless and otherwise you are completing your answer sheet with the right answers of the questions, okay, the answers which you are mentioning in your answer papers are accurate with respect to that question, okay, and consistently throughout your degree course or post graduation course you are passing the exam. That is what the data integrity is. When you pass your exam, B pharmacy or M pharmacy, you call it as an graduate pharmacist or a graduate or a postgraduate pharmacist. On what basis? You have passed the exam. Now, passing an exam is nothing but the integrity of your course, integrity of that person, that he has passed that exams. So in the same way, when we are working in a regulatory environment, when we are working in a pharmaceutical industry, the data which we are generating needs to be complete, consistent, and accurate. Okay. Why? The theme remains the same. The medicine which we are manufacturing will be going for human consumption, and unless and otherwise the backend process is integrated, the backend procedure is in compliant way, i cannot I cannot assure that the drug which I had prepared is safe for human consumption or not. So it is a framework which regulatory agencies use to audit, which regulatory agencies use to guide a pharmaceutical company, that within this framework you have to work. Okay. Now, when I say ALCOA plus, so what is A, what is L, what is C, what is O, and what is A? Will be briefing you. Now, what is A? In ALCOA, A stands for attributable. Now, it's a simple vocabulary. Attributable means Data should clearly state who performed the action and when. Simple example, when you are writing your question paper, right, you have to enroll your name or a roll number or an enrollment number, which is a designation that, or which correlates that this particular paper or this particular roll number belongs to Chetan Maheshwari, right? So by this it is confirmed that this paper is of Chetan Maheshwari. That understood means that particular paper is attributable to Chetan Maheshwari. By checking that paper, by checking that paper, whether he is passed or whether he is failed will be guaranteed. So attributable, the one who has performed the activity, the one who has performed the activity, that information should be available. Okay. Now L stands for legible. Data should be easy to understand, recorded permanently, and preserved in its original form. Now legible means neat and clean writing. Okay. Just imagine, if you don't know any answer in your of the question while giving the exam, we just go on simply going and cursive writing and writing something XYZ, understanding that the one who will be checking just looking the answer and giving a 2 or 3 marks. So legibility is what? To write the content in a readable manner. One should understand what you have written. Okay. Further, I will be giving the examples of that too. Okay. Now legible means what you are writing should be recognized by someone else, whether you had written 6, whether you have written 9, or whether you have written 1, or whether you have written 7. Okay. Now C, the most important, contemporaneous. Now what is contemporaneous? The data should be recorded at the time work is performed. In any regulatory environment, in any pharmaceutical organization, backdating, post-dating and pre-dating is a crime. I will again repeat, backdating. Suppose I had performed the experiment today and I will be writing that experiment tomorrow, is not justifiable. That is against the principle of ALCOA. That is against the principle of data integrity. The concept is very clear. The day I perform the activity, the day I should write or the day I should report. Okay. Now original. Data should be preserved in its original form or a certified true copy. Now many of you, while doing practicals, you might be writing something in the something in paper, then copying that to your practical journals. Okay. So this kind of stuffs are not entertained in pharmaceutical organization. I have to write on the original record only, where it has been intended or where it has been proposed. Okay. I cannot write on a piece of paper, I cannot write the information on the piece of paper, then after some time I will capture that information to the respective record. That is not, or that is against the principles of ALCOA. Okay. Now A stands for accurate. Data should be free from error and as per protocol. When we are working in a pharmaceutical organization, we work against standard operating procedures. Okay. So what my standard operation procedure says, my data should be in line to that. Okay. That is what the accuracy of the data is. These were the ALCOA principles. Now, after, I think ALCOA was introduced long back in 1950s in US FDA. Now they have come up with plus principles. Now what are these plus? Now complete. All data are available, nothing has been deleted. Very important that any organization, any pharmaceutical organization is not deleting the data. Now just imagine if you are deleting anything from your mobile app, it will not have any impact. Okay. But if you are deleting any data which is produced in a regulated environment, okay, that gives the non-integrity sense. Okay. If you want to delete any data in terms of empty the space of the servers or magnetic tapes, then that will be taken care through a quality management system. But mind you, I cannot do in a way that I had performed the analysis and the analysis results are not matching with my specifications. So I will delete that data and perform another analysis. And if analysis is getting passed, I will consider that data. So these kinds of stuffs are not entertained, and all these things are evident by an audit trail. So as I said, why paper to electronic? Now this is the important thing, audit trail. Okay, you might be knowing when you do a banking transactions, so on your passbook or on your monthly transaction slips, you get the date, time, and the action you have performed. Suppose you have debited the amount, you have credited the amount, you have given a check. All those informations are available in your in your passbook or your bank statement. Okay, that is nothing but the audit trail. Okay, that is nothing but the audit trail. So by looking to the audit trail, you check your statement, whether someone has manipulated the things in my bank account, whether these transactions were done by me or not. Okay, the same thing when it comes to any software which is installed in regulatory agency in a regulated environment. So any activity or any data which we are generating on that particular software is governed by an audit trail. Okay, so I will be giving you the examples for the what is an audit trail. Now consistent data are recorded chronologically with date and time stamp. Means what? Suppose at 11 a.m. I had performed a pH measurement activity, so I will be recording the pH measurement activity in my laboratory notebook. At 12:30 I had performed a weighing activity, I will be recording the weighing activity. So contemporaneous is also followed, and it's a consistent chronological evidence with date and time stamp. Okay. Now enduring. Enduring means long lasting. Data are accessible for an extended period of time, maybe after 20 years or long. Now why? Why? Any pharmaceutical organization is working on the, suppose if is working on any molecule, so after 5 years or 10 years, if it's a innovation, definitely it will take time. After 10 years it may come into market. If it's generic, after 3 to 4 years it will be available in the market. Okay, so up to the product, up to the life cycle of that product, or up to the time up to my product is in the market. Okay, I have to preserve my data with respect to that product. Okay, so if I am on paper, then I have to design a documentation cell where all safety measures, fire extinguishers, pesticide controls are available, so my papers are not been damaged. So it's somewhat tedious process. Yes, so this is the shift from paper to electronic. If I am electronic, okay, so I preserve my data on magnetic tapes. What you do, you preserve your data on a pen drive, right? You take the backup of your Android images, your particular data, and you preserve it on the cloud. This is one and the same thing. Okay, that is what you're performing. A backup which you took on your Android phone is nothing but enduring. Means you want to use that data after XYZ years, and that will be readily available to you. Okay, so why this is important? As the data which is generated is used for a decision making, on the basis of which my drug is being released in the market and will be consumed by a patient, so I need to preserve the complete set of data. Okay, now available. Now the most important thing, that after 20 years or after 30 years, if I required that data, because long before 20 10 years, 15 years I had filed that molecule, that molecule is well running in the market, but suppose all of a sudden a query is being raised after 10 to 15 years. So my initial development data should be readily available with me, so that I can challenge the regulatory query. Okay, now as I said, what is audit trail? Audit trail means a secure, computer-generated, time-stamped electronic record that allow course of events relating to the creation, modification, deletion of an electronic record. Okay, audit trail is a chronology of who, what, when, and where of a record was done. Now, a simple example. Might be in your colleges you might be following a presentee system, attendance system. Now just imagine if attendance system is on paper, so definitely there are the chances of proxy attendance, right? There are the chances that your attendance can be manipulated anytime, as it's a piece of paper that can be torn off, that can be maintained with another register or xyz things. But this case is not with respect to software. Okay, suppose you are having a biometrics access at your colleges, so can you take the thumb or eye of your friend to have its attendance on that day? No, unless and otherwise that person is physically present in the premises, cannot give or cannot have a biometric attendance. So just try to understand a simple meaning: attendance on paper and importance of attendance on biometric application. Understood? So this is the transaction. Why this was the need of time? Why regulatory agencies were forcing pharmaceutical or any regulatory organizations to hook up to electronic transactions? As there is more transparency. Okay, and it's an easy way through software to audit the systems. Okay. Now, for example, the audit trail for a high performance HPLC run could include the username, date, time of the run, the integration parameters used. Okay, suppose I had generated a result on HPLC. Now I believe that I had not performed the integration properly. Base to base pick is not being integrated. So I am reintegrating that particular injection. So a software will pop up for a justification. So I will be providing a justification, or I will be having an SOP where the SOP will be saying that if you want to reprocess a data, you have to take the approvals of quality department, your designated HODs, and you have to brief the reason why you are going to reintegrate it. If all these things are in a good sense, are practically and justifiable by a scientific approach, then you can go for reprocessing. The most important thing is that when it's an audit file governed activity, your initial data and your reprocessed data both are available on the software. Okay, that particular reprocessing has an comment that why this data was reprocessed. Okay, now just imagine if this was on paper, was that readily available for an auditor to review? Okay, no. So this is the need from paper to electronic. Right. Now, a simple example in our day-to-day life, we go to any tehsil office or any government officials. We visit any government officials office. So you might see that there the piles of files are available there. Okay. So just searching your birth certificate or searching any official document which you require for purchasing a land is somewhat mess up there, right? And it took a time to retrieve that data. Now government has taken an initiative to move from paper to paperless, right? So why? More transparency, ease of access, okay? Ease of access, and more importantly, anytime it can be auditable. We are giving a digital evidences, right? On paper it is difficult to provide evidences because paper can be manipulated at any time. But when it's date and time, when your date and time is coming to a software from a computer system, it cannot be changed. So we have a digital evidence, right? We have a digital evidence that yes, this activity was performed on this day, that activity was performed on that day. Now who performed this activity? Attributable. Who has performed this activity? Yes, Chetan Maheshwari has performed this activity. Whether this activity was written on the same day? Yes, it was contemporaneously recorded. Whether this activity was recorded where it was supposed to be recorded? Yes, it was not recorded on the piece of paper. It was recorded on the justified issued formats. Okay. And whether that particular activity is complete with respect to the set standard operating procedures or standard testing procedures. So this is a framework where we are giving a digital evidence that we are giving a digital evidence to follow the data integrity principles. Now, when I say ALCOA plus, or when I say data integrity, 21 CFR Part 11 compliance is the key element to cope up with or to follow or to govern data integrity principles. Now, yes, I am saying that I need to follow ALCOA, but how I will follow ALCOA? So this 21 CFR Part 11 guidance guide us what measures you have to take to follow ALCOA. Now, Part 11, Title 21 Code of Federal Regulation was established by United States. Okay, it is commonly called as it is Part 11 as it is commonly called defines the criteria under which electronic records and electronic signatures are considered trustworthy, reliable, and equivalent to paper records. More importantly, your paper records and your electronic transactions go parallel to parallel, but the integrity with respect to your electronic transaction is much higher than compared to your paper. And it's the need of the time that every regulated organization should hook up to electronic transactions. Okay. Now, practically speaking, where Part 11 applies, Part 11 applies to drug makers, medical device manufacturers, biotech companies, biologic developers, any CROs, or any organization which is being regulated by any of the European or any of the FDA regulated agencies. Now, what are the key flavored elements of 21 Part 11 compliance? Okay, how I will say that the person who is performing the activity is attributable to that person only in the application. Okay, now these are the key flavored elements which will guide us to cope up with ALCOA principles. Now, most importantly, when I am using any software, that must be validated, and on the computer system which it is installed must be validated. Now, if you are using your home PCs or laptops, we are not controlling date and time on that. Okay, we do not have any administrative control. But when the computer systems are used in regulated environments, date and time and your control panel are are under the control of the administrator. Okay, they are not open for any end users. Okay, they are not open for any end users. They are being controlled by an administrator. That can be an IT person or that can be a quality person. Okay, now use of individual logins. Now, how I can prove that this task is being done by Chetan Maheshwari? So I need to have my individual designation or individual biometrics in the software, right? In terms when I'm having a biometrics access, so I give the impression of my thumb, and whenever the due course of time, when I put my thumb on that biometric instrument, my present is being captured. So the thumb fingerprinting was my individual login. Okay, can all your biological features will be same with respect to everyone? No, right? So what we do, we can have either a biometrics access to the application, or we provide individual login IDs. Now, individual login IDs means what? When you are going for your examination, if it's an online examination, you have a dedicated user ID and password, right? Now, that dedicated user ID and password is attributable to individual only. That cannot be same for everyone. Otherwise, it will be a mess up. The activity will never be attributable. So on the applications, we provide individual login IDs. The person logging into the system through his or her individual login IDs and performing the task, and that particular task is being attributable to that person, right? Now, password policies. You know, when you are when you are accessing your internet account, when you are accessing your bank account through internet applications, so there is a mandate of changing the password after 90 days, after 60 days, there is a pop-up. Yes, 21 CFR says that you should change your password periodically. Why? Why? First of all, you all have a password policy set for your Android mobiles. Yes. Why? To secure your data, right? To secure your data, you have provided a password policy. Your parents must not see your data, your chats of WhatsApp, You have provided a password policy. To hide certain contents, you have provided the password policies. And you are being forced by the application to change the password policies, right? Because there are security breaches. So just understand why password is very, very important for any software. If my password is being breached, so someone can work on my behalf, someone can have my bank transactions and withdraw my money. So periodically changing the password is important. As password goes on aging, possibility of its breaching increases. Okay, so suppose you are typing your password and someone is peeping from backside. Okay, so he can recognize what you are typing. And being an human, what we always set a password like month. Okay, AUJ at the rate 2023, or my child's name is suppose Ragvi at the rate 21. My bike number is 4575 at the rate 25. So these are the most easiest password which can be traced by your human behavior by any one of your relatives also, and XYZ cyber hacker also. So 21 CFR recommends that you should set the policies in the software where you should have a alpha numerical password policies. देखा है आपने? Have you seen while setting any password to for any application, they are asking you for an any one letter should be capital. You should have a special characters in that. Password length should be more than 6 to 7 characters. So the more the password is strengthened, it is difficult to judge by anyone that what password you have kept, or the moment when you are typing the password through your keyboard and somebody is peeping from backside, it is difficult for him or her to identify what password you have set. Okay, so it is very much important parameters, right? Now computer system security. Now when we are working in any pharmaceutical organization, the systems on which we are working, or the systems on which any application is being installed, and that application is talking to my instrument to generate the data, is highly secured. Okay, to the end user we only provide the access. He goes into the application and performs his task and generate the data, nothing else. No deletion. Okay, no control access, no time and date access, nothing. Even he cannot save anything on desktop. Everything will be saved through that application only. Okay, now control on data deletion, yes, it is important. So we have to set the policies, we have to set the privileges where deletion will be controlled. Control on data and time change. Now why I'm saying that data and time change is very important. Look, if any instrument is attached to any computer system, or any instrument is being governed by the computer system, everything is dependent on date. Okay, today's date is 26th. If I want to generate a data of 25th, I can generate by changing the date and time. Simple. Because your computer system is the heart of that particular instrument who is supplying the blood to that instrument with respect to date and time. So that instrument doesn't know on which date, on which time I am producing the data. The instrument just produce the data. That is your computer system. That is the audit trail which is being available in your application, is capturing, or your computer system is capturing the data on that date and time which is being set. So it is important that my date and time should be controlled. It should not be changed by any of the end user. As I said, computer system administrative control should lie with IT person or any QA person. Mostly it is governed by a IT person only. Now by following all this 21 CFR Part 11 compliance, if I am saying that my system is 21 CFR Part 11 compliance, that means that the data which I am generating on the system is compliant. I am following the data integrity principles. Ultimately, my ALCOA is being achieved. Okay. Now, audit trail review. Suppose periodically there should be audit trail review. If by mistake someone administrator have the rights to do anything, so administrator have the rights to delete the data also. So we check the administrator also whether he has deleted the data in the influence of anyone. Okay. Now whether the IT is taking the backup or not, backup is very important. If there is a disaster management, or if suppose server collapse, so where my data would be? So I am ensuring the backups. Yes, I am ensuring the backups. If any moment is there any breach with respect to security, or there is any malfunction with respect to that particular instrument, equipment, or that particular software, my data generated on that application is being secured through backup. Okay. Now application administrative control, there are two types of control. One is your computer system control, and another is your application control. Computer system means your CPU, and application means the particular application in which you are going to perform the task which is being installed on your computer system. Okay. Now SOP governed approvals. If anything I want to change needs a approval. Now your quality management systems comes into focus. Okay. Now the most important aspect of data integrity principles, training. Training is the most important aspect. So that's the reason why Gosavi College of Pharmacy has organized today's session. Okay, it's a kind of training that I am giving to you, which will be helpful to cope up with you with the coming challenges in the pharmaceutical industry. Unless and otherwise, I will train my persons on the ALCOA principles, on or what is the requirement of the guidelines. How can I achieve the task? Right? If your lectures are not being conducted in the colleges, how come you will come to know that this was the syllabus of of my pharmacy education? Okay, whether this has been completed or not, and these questions will be there in the exam or not. So the same way in the organization, when any new users joins the organization, we have to give them the training. Now training is important in terms of regulatory aspect also. It's a clear cut indication. If the person is not trained, he or she is going to perform non compliant activities. So training is at the most focus in any of the organization. So new person joining the organization, we train him on our SOPs, on our systems. We come up with the subject matters expertise for the trainings. We provide SOP trainings. Okay, training when new system is installed or any updation happens. Unless and otherwise I am not trained on that particular application, how will I be using that application for that intended purpose? Simple, right? Training documents are always in the scrutiny of audits. Each and every individual training documents we have to maintain. Right? Training is a tool by which one can educate the workforce. That what I am trying to do in today's session. Now, in-house trainers or external trainers. For today, I am your external trainer. For daily, your teachers are your in-house trainers. Okay. So training is very important, very important. Unless and otherwise, the person is trained on the job which he or she wants to do, any organization is not supposed to assign the task to that particular person. And always, training documents are in the scrutiny of audits. Okay. So this was from my side. So, what I will do, I will be just running a video of 3.5 minutes, which will brief you what is ALCOA. I always believe that visual observation is somewhat that is being directly stuck into our conscious mind. So just I will be running a video of 3 minutes, which will let you know in visual what is ALCOA, what we were talking about from last 1 hour. So I will be playing a video. Please be attentive. If anyone has not understood what is ALCOA, so here's the visual video for you.
For data to be reliable, it must follow all principles of data integrity. ALCOA, upgraded to ALCOA Plus, forms the gold standard for compliant data and records. A in ALCOA is attributable. Who recorded or modified the data and when? Are you wondering what is wrong with this? Data has been modified, but it's not attributable. No one knows who made this change and when. Here's the correct way to make the same modification. L in ALCOA stands for legible. Data must be neatly written and easily readable by everyone. This is an example of data that is not legible. Data must remain legible for the entire life of the document. The content must be clear and permanent. You must never need to reach out to the author of the document. Now let's look at what's wrong with this picture. Change is attributable here, but the original recorded data is not legible. Here's the correct way to make the same modification. Data should also be permanent, so erasable ink pens or pencils should not be used. C in ALCOA is contemporaneous. Data must always be recorded in real time. When your activity or test is completed, record the data immediately on an approved document. For most electronic instruments, all data is date and time stamped automatically. O stands for original. It's the first capture of information, whether recorded in paper or electronically. Data should not be recorded on a scrap piece of paper, a rough notebook, or a post-it. Always record on an approved document. A raw chromatogram stored on a computer is original, but a printout of the chromatogram cannot be considered original as it may have been processed before being printed. However, a printed output obtained directly from an equipment that does not store data, such as a weighing balance or a pH meter, would be considered original data. The last A in ALCOA is accurate. Data must be correct, truthful, complete, and reliable. It must be without errors. Any corrections or changes made must also be well documented. In addition to ALCOA, data needs to be complete, consistent, enduring, and available. These four additional parameters make the plus in ALCOA Plus. For data to be complete, all data, including failed results, should be recorded and archived. For data to be consistent, it should be recorded in the expected sequence of execution. The date and time must be evident in an audit trail. Data must be enduring. That means it should last throughout the data lifecycle. Corrupted electronic data or faded paper records are examples of non enduring data. And finally, for ALCOA Plus, data must be available for review and for inspection. Data must be stored such that it can be retrieved from an archive or restored from an electronic backup quickly. ALCOA Plus, an easy abbreviation to maintain data integrity.
Okay, this was from my side.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Nice session. Sir, some questions from uh, delegates. Uh, Mr. Prakash Muleva, does India have its own ALOCA Plus like system, or we follow ALOCA Plus by US FDA? If yes, please name it. Prakash Alova asking the question.
Look, yeah, the thing is that when any organization, when any pharmaceutical organization is working for any regulated agencies, whether it is suppose MHRA, Europe agencies, whether it is a US FDA agencies, or whether it is a Dog and Cosmetic Act, Indian agency. So accordingly, the geography in which the medicine is to be marketed, we follow those principles. Like for US FDA, we follow ALCOA. For MHRA, Annex 11 is there, right, which guides us regarding these aspects. Now the beauty is the things remains the same. Okay? The things remains the same. Only nomenclature wise for USFDA it will be 21 CFR Part 11 compliance guideline or an ALCOA plus. Okay. For MHRA it would be Annex 11 guideline. The heart, the key elements remains the same. So there is no any differentiation with respect to the data integrity principles. It's there. These are universal principles, but with respect to geographies, with respect to regulatory agencies, we are naming them. So if I talk in terms of India, it will be your Schedule M, GAM 5. Schedule M gives the information regarding your data reliability, manufacturing area compliance, good documentation practices. So all these are covered in Indian regulatory agencies also.
Okay. Sir, Professor Bhandari asking a question. What is the 21 CFR and Part 210 and 211 in audit trial? Is it?
Okay. When we what is 21 safer part 210 and 21 in audit trials? Okay.
Yes.
Look, when I talk regarding audit trials, now as I said, what are audit trials? They should answers the answer of audit trial is 5W: who, when, what, where, why. So 210 and 211 describes that if any I'm installing any application, my audit trail should be enabled for that particular system. Okay. Periodically, there should be verification of audit trail. Okay. And why the importance of audit trail? Because ultimately, the integrity of my generated data will be spoken by the generated timestamps audit trail. Okay. So you can, if you want to specify what actually if you look at 21 CFR guideline, they have given in a theoretical way, like as he has quoted 210 to 11. The meaning I am depicting it what I had said just. Audit trail are nothing but the stamped date and time stamped activity. Okay. By which we can in short check the health status of that particular data, whether that data was manipulated at any time, any due course of time. Okay. Who performed, when performed, why performed, how performed. So this all complete informations are governed by this.
Okay, sir. One more question from Dr. Vijay Lambole, sir. Integrated consumer data has been selling nowadays by one company to other. Is there any government rules present not to sell same?
Look, very interestingly, we are very much back in cyber laws. So this is one thing that I think not only India, even in US also, you might be knowing recently Facebook was breached, Twitter was also breached. So thing is that when I say electronic, so there are challenges also, right? If just Google, a few of the pharmaceutical companies clinical data was being breached. Okay. Have you heard the word ransomware, malwares? Why we installed antivirus applications on our computer systems? So, particularly many of the innovative pharmaceutical organizations, clinical data was being breached. So yes, there are guidelines, but the thing is that the hackers are much more beyond that guidelines. There are guidelines, cyber laws are there, in any geography cyber laws are there, but the thing is that data is being transferred from one person to another. Suppose I am having any crucial data and I am breaching, so it is the responsibility of that particular designated person to work according to the code of conduct that organization has set. Okay. So yes, I do understand your question, and it is very difficult to control that because currently there are being breaches. Even our mobile numbers are being shared from one banking system to another. So we receive daily calls. Take this credit card, take this loan, because all our data is being breached, and we are only responsible for breaching that data. As on Facebook, as on any social media, we are freely posting our photos, we are freely posting our mobile numbers, our contact numbers. Anywhere in the mall if we are going, we are they are asking us to give feedback. On that we are writing our mobile number. So these things are being, should be human controlled. Okay. Once it is being human controlled, definitely there are laws will be taking care of that, but first it should be human controlled.
Thank you.
Many of the times if any organization uh, files a law case against the particular ones also, if there are evidences that particular information was stolen by so and so concern, and moreover we have a security system in place where no one can access our domain, or if someone is accessing our domain, there is an alarm system to IT persons that the internet security is being going to breach. So technically we are controlling, but procedure wise myself should be responsible to control the behavior. I should not extend the my internal concerns with anyone else.
Yes, sure, sir, sure.
Yes.
Uh, One more question from Dr. Dhanashri Mai, madam. Is there any loopholes in ALOCA Plus for human error? Is there any chance of data hacking?
Look, good one. Loopholes are being created by us, not the system, not the software, not by any guidelines. We, as you said, human error. So human is only responsible for deviating and following. So there is no any loopholes in ALCOA Plus. No, it is a set of framework. Okay, it is the set of framework. Against in line to that framework, we have to work. Now, if we are bypassing that framework, then we will be in trouble. Okay. Now, when I say data hacking, as I said, internal security policies, internet security policies of any organizations are well within compliance. Okay, so they are taking care of that.
Uh, what
Okay,
is the
what is
data
data integrity SOPs in pharmaceutical
in
industry?
pharmaceutical industry?
Yeah. Look, yeah, as in pharmaceutical organization, what we do as a QA prospect, we have a quality SOP or a global SOP for the organization, which says that data integrity SOP. Now, in that, what I said you, ALCOA, we brief, okay, uh, we brief in that how the data should be produced, how data should be reviewed, how data should be released, okay, and what are the non-compliances which should one not follow, how your computer system should be secured with respect to 21 CFR Part 11 compliance, okay, password must not be shared, login IDs must not be shared, okay. So all these are being briefed in data integrity SOPs. Actually, to be very frank, data integrity principles or ALCOA principles are the discipline. I must say they are the disciplines which one needs to follow. More than a guideline, they are a discipline which every organization is now taking into their bloodstream. Okay, so it's a discipline. We need to work in a disciplined manner. So how we will work in disciplined manner? Our day to day, in our day to day life, we woke up, we brush our teeth, okay, we take the bath, so it's a discipline. So set same ALCOA principles or any data integrity principles set forward by any regulatory agencies are the discipline. If we are following, we are compliant, we can say that we are integrated, or our integrity is on higher side.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Then, Rahul Jadhav asking one question. Does we have our own SOP for data integrity or we follow SOPs of other country?
Look, for any organization, okay, for any organization, as I said, they will be working with various geographical areas for US, for Europe, for Russia, and every geographical agency have their certain guidelines. Okay, so when we prepare a SOP, look, themes remains the same. That individual password should be there. No one should delete the data. XYZ things. So the things remains the same. What we do in an organization, we compile all that aspects and prepare a data integrity SOP. Okay. And if I'm talking with respect to India, yes, we are having a data integrity SOPs. What is Schedule M? Schedule M talks about the same, na, for manufacturing, for testing. That is the same thing.
Yeah, thank you very much,
Yeah.
sir.
Any more questions, sir?
Very informative and excellent session by you. What about the data integrity principles, Aloka Plus, you have mentioned there. Then very nice images you have shown in your presentation, that animation or then air lift and the Airbus. Then another is what about the reputation about the pharma industry. If I focus on the reputation related to the pharma industry on the data integrity, then how we will shift to the electronics software, then that paper to paperless work. All these things you have very nice presented. Very thank you, or thank you very much for your session, sir. Now I request now I request to our respected principal, sir, for conclusive remark on today's national level webinar. Sir, please.
Very good afternoon, and I'm very delighted that a very
Good
huge
afternoon, sir.
response is given by very huge response is given by
Yes,
delegates.
sir.
Near about 600 registrations, registered
Okay.
delegates were there for this webinar. So I'm very much thankful
Great, sir.
to Mr. Chetan Maheshwari sir. Because of his name, we could attract many delegates and very detailed information about this topic given by sir. So I'm very, very happy and thank you to Dr. Chetan Maheshwari sir. Namaste sir. At the same time, very informative
Namaste,
sessions
sir.
were
Nice
there.
to meet you, sir.
Yeah. This very informative sessions and lecture delivered by our both the speakers, Runali Patil. I'm more happy with her because she is my first batch student and she could deliver a lecture and near about 600, just I mentioned, delegates registered for this. So this is a very good opportunity. And for a teacher life, student development is very, very important.
Yes.
And this is a outcome of our college. I would say like this. This is outcome. The today our speaker Runali Patil presented her topic very nicely. And secondly, Dr. Chetan Maheshwari sir also given a very informative about this topic. And I'm very sure all the delegates definitely would be more beneficial by this kind of webinars. And this has motivated us. We could arrange this kind of webinars in future also. Already we have planned every month we'll have a one webinar like this. So it is an appeal to all delegates. Please do watch on this and do attend it because our theme is we'll have one alumni who have passed from this college and one expert from the different fields. So this is a very good opportunity we are providing to all delegates, teachers and students. So we can hear, and this is absolutely online session, so we can attend by from anywhere from the globe. Because today's speaker Runali Patil, she's had delivered a lecture from Melbourne. So this is an opportunity given by a technical uh, developments by during COVID-19, and this is very, very beneficial. Many people are taking an advantage of this. So once again, I'm very much thankful to both the speakers and all delegates who have given a very good response to us. And in future also, I'm appealing to both speakers. If any requirement is there or when we appeal, so definitely support us. We'll have sessions of expert like you in future also. Thank you very much.
Yes, sure, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, shall I take your leave?
Just a minute, sir.
Okay.
Sir, please accept this certificate as a token of love from us. Please, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I must,
Sir, just
just would like to speak two words, as Principal Sir said.
yes, sir.
May I speak? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
As Principal Sir said that they are organizing the sessions regularly on regular basis. Yeah. So to be frank, it is a need of time. As academics and industry, there is a huge gap between the syllabus and the current scenarios which we are doing in the regulated environment. So it is a need of the time, and I think designated persons like you, like Shilpa ma'am, Principal Sir, and all the coordinators are taking that efforts. So it is highly appreciable that such kinds of webinars, such kinds of sessions should be there, because long back when I passed out in 2018, so I was not even aware about P of pharmaceutical industry. So even I am trying to bridge such gap between academics and industry. So I am also thankful to you, sir, for giving me an opportunity to deliver this. Thankful to Principal Sir, Shilpa Ma'am, and each and every one of you, and my definitely my viewers for spending their time.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Good afternoon to everyone present virtually here for this webinar. On behalf of Gokhale Education Society, Sir Dr. M.S. Gosavi, College of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, myself, Dr. Dhanashri Mari, welcome you all. It is such an honor for me to get opportunity to thank you all delegates and all delegates. Knowledge grows exponentially. The more we know, we are more eager to learn more new things. With this motto, we have started a series of webinar on futuristic innovation in pharmaceutical era. Today is the first webinar under this series. The webinar is more impactful when it includes real world examples and experience. For such, we are inviting the speakers from the pharma industry who are let us know a new technologies that are developed in pharma industry. I offer our sincere thanks to first speaker, Ms. Runali Patil, our prestigious alumni and PhD scholar, IIT Bombay, for sharing her experience on advances in stimuli responsive nanocarriers for drug delivery system. Thank you, Runali, for sharing your research with us and extending our knowledge on nanocarriers. I'm also grateful to Mr. Chetan Maheshwari, Manager, Development Quality Assurance, Glenmark Pharmaceutical Limited, Mumbai, for sharing valuable information about ALCOA data integrity principle. Thank you, sir, for guiding us on protecting data integrity with various softwares. Thank you, sir. I'm grateful to both speakers for sparing valuable time with us from their busy schedule and enlightening us on new technology innovations in pharma industry. Till today, every program was graced by the presence of Sir Dr. M.S. Gosavi Sir, Secretary, Director General of Gokhale Education Society. Today, although he is not physically present with us, but I know his blessings are always with us. On this occasion, I take this opportunity to pay my grateful gratitude to him. I always wish to express my gratitude to Dr. Dipti Deshpande Madam, Secretary, Director, HR for motivation and constant support. I am also thankful to Gokhale Education Society's office barriers, Mr. P.M. Deshpande, Project Director, Dr. R.P. Deshpande, Joint Treasurer, Dr. R.M. Kulkarni, Zonal Secretary, for their moral support. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation to our mentor, Sri Sailesh Gosavi Sir, Establishment Director, Gokhale Education Society, for providing facility and guidance to carry out today's webinar. A special thanks to our dynamic leader, Dr. S.V. Amrutkar, Sir, Principal of our college, for his enormous motivations and cooperation in organizing this webinar. I convey my big thank to Dr. P.L. Pingre, Vice Principal and IQAC Coordinator, for providing immense support to make this webinar successful. I'm also thankful to Dr. S.S. Harak, coordinator of today's webinar, for guiding us in planning and execution of this webinar. I convey my big thank to all organizing committee and my colleague for working hard from last few days to make this webinar successful. I specially mention a vote of gratitude to non-teaching staff. Without their cooperation and full support, today's success was not possible. Finally, I am thankful to all delegates for their active participation. I'm sure that you are get benefited by attending this webinar today. I once again thank you everyone whose contribution has made this event successful. Thank you very much. This is an appeal for participants to fill the feedback form, and you will get the certificate within 2 to 3 days. Please fill correct name that you require on the certificate. The certificate will be issued on the same name which you are giving on feedback link. So be careful while filling feedback link. Thank you everyone.